just want to put out some information on back pain and horse riders. Now, to participate in any sport, and this is right across the board, it's important that you know what is involved in the sport as far as what movements are required. It's then really important to understand your own body. Can you provide or train for those movements? So for instance, it's no point a hypermobile, thin-boned, very flexible person wanting to do weightlifting or rugby. So we do have a body part type that is suited best for our sport. Now for horse riding, we have a lot of conflict in movement and conflict in what is healthy and stable and flexible, a conflict between stability and flexibility in achieving the skills in horse riding. Now, very many sports in the back, we are aiming to stabilise the back and cause not a stiffness in movement, but a stiffness in structures, so that we've got support for the spine, including the discs, the joints, and then the muscles around it help and stabilise the area. We then use our limbs and our body for the movements required for the sport. Now in horse riding we have a conflict in that movement, in that we want supreme stability, but with that stability we also require the pelvis to move and the low back to tilt forwards and backwards and sideways and in rotation. Now as far as back stability and back health is concerned, here's where the conflict is. So what riders need to be able to do is engage the core, engage the spinal stabilising muscles, but also have the ability to move that structure with the stability. So I'll just demonstrate it on the Anki here. This is a mobilising machine. So what we want, if we're sitting on our seat bones, which are there, the pelvis will move, but we want the upper body to stay still. Now this is just going around in rotation. Now what happens is that stability tends to become compromised and the body starts to wobble around like this. So the ability to keep the pelvis in the saddle, move with the horse, stabilise the low back, but allow this movement. But we also want to control this movement by adding movements of tilt, anterior and posterior, and certainly sideways. And we want that ability to be on demand, and we want it to be isolated so we can use our seat, but we also want it to be combined with our hands, our arms and our seat and our leg aids. So this skill of being able to remain stable but move the pelvis in all directions is a movement pattern that you can be trained for. So the incidence of back pain in horse riders, we certainly know it's very high, and there's various structures here that can cause it. No matter what the structure is that is causing it, yes, that needs to be treated, identified, treated and addressed, but the outcome is that the functional movement training for riding needs to be addressed. Now there's very many riding exercises and programs out there that involve the big ball Pilates exercises. Very many people are having success with those programs. They're very good programs. But what they're not addressing for the person who has back pain is identifying the structure that is causing the pain, stabilising it, and then teaching the person how to move. Now, true rider biomechanics is being able to set every rider up for riding, not just those people that don't have any problems. I'm a specialist in biomechanics. I'm also a physiotherapist, and I treat a lot of people across the board for what they call non-specific back pain. Now there is no such thing. We identify the cause, we do treat the effect of that injury, the pain, the swelling and the inflammation, and then we set people up with functional core movement patterns to regain the correct movement to render them pain-free. There's a lot of research out, particularly in the Northern Hemisphere, in back biomechanics, and it's proving to be extremely successful. So if you want any more information on that, certainly give me a call.